Hello, this is Ann Carden. I am the author of Expert in You, Build a Lucrative and Impactful Coaching and Consulting Business from Your Expertise. I'm also the podcast host of Expert in You podcast, and I'm the founder and CEO of Carden Incorporated. And in my episode for the Business Growth Architect Show, I share and reveal how to create a premium business, how to really sell very, very high-end services in your business, position yourself as the expert in the market, and really have a high profit, simpler business model.
Hello, fabulous person. Beate Chelette here, the Growth Architect. Welcome back to the Business Growth Architect Show, where we bring you cutting-edge business strategies from some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs, business transformation experts, and visionaries who want to help you to scale your impact. Look for one tangible strategy that you can take back and implement right away. And now back to our guest. And welcome. This is Beate Chelette, the host for the Business Growth Architect Show. Today, we are speaking to a sister from another mother that has advice for you. Will you keep you at the edge of your seat? Here with me today is Ann Carden, and we will be talking about high ticket. Not just that classic internet marketing high ticket offer, but a high ticket business. So please join me in welcoming Ann. I'm so excited for you to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here to share with your audience, and I'm grateful you had me.
Of course. So for somebody who doesn't know who you are, what you do, will you just please introduce yourself and tell us what your sweet spot is?
Absolutely. So I work primarily with coaches, consultants, and professional entrepreneurs who are selling services to really help them build a premium business, very high end, high profit. And when you mention high ticket, I always use the phrase ultra high ticket because that speaks at an even higher level. A lot of people think high ticket is like, 2,000, 5,000. I'm not talking about numbers like that, which we'll talk about. So really at an ultra high end level, and really simplify their business so they can work with a small team. They can have a lot more time and freedom in their life, but they're not giving away all of their money. They are keeping a lot of their money and it's changing their life.
So what is the difference between what you do and gasp, let's say the internet marketing high ticket offer? Because I really would like you to explain to our listeners why this is different, because I think a lot of people think it's like not hokey, but it's like, I have this offer, and then I have my high ticket offer, but that's not what you do, right?
No, in fact, I take a lot of people. I work with a lot of professionals, business coaches, people that are experts at what they do. They're really established and they're very good at what they do, but they have maybe fallen into what is called a high ticket model, but it's not. So again, looking at those 5,000, maybe even 10,000. So I like to take people, what their highest offer is right now. I typically can make that their lowest cash offer, and then we add new layers or new levels. But when you say hokey, it's not, because it really comes down to what services you're selling, what the value is to the market, and then who your market is. So if you're working, for example, in a corporation and you're delivering services, that could be a $500,000 or even $1 million offer, or several $100,000. That's not uncommon. It's not about money for them. They don't care. They want results. They want speed. They want transformation. But even in the business sector or in the professional sector, it really does come down to what is it you are selling? How is that packaged in a way that people will think it's a no-brainer, even if it's a very high end, like $50,000 or $100,000. And then how can you scale that? And so I help them with the whole premium model. So they have more than one thing that they're typically selling, but everything is at a high level. And so if they bring in a new client, the cash that they bring that client in for might be $7,500, $10,000 minimum. And then they have things even beyond that.
I love that. So what do you usually see in the mindset of somebody who you work with? Because there is this moment where you look at these numbers and
it is oftentimes outside our mental comfort zone or challenges our relationship with money. Can you give us a little bit of insights what happens and what do you do to help people through that? Because wouldn't that be the first thing that needs to be done to be okay with asking for this?
Absolutely. In fact, I have to tell you a funny story. So about 12 or 13 years ago, when I was doing a workshop and it was local and I was teaching a lot of entrepreneurs and coaches. I had a lot of them in the room, and I was going to show them how to package offers. And at that time I was fairly new. So again, it was 13 years ago, and I was working with a coach. And on my way to the workshop, I was listening. This will tell you how long ago it was. I was listening to a CD in my car. We don't even have those anymore, I don't think. But I was listening to a CD, and my coach said, if you don't have a $50,000 offer, you can't sell it. And at that time, I could not believe it. It was so foreign to me. I had no exposure to anything like that. I had no idea. And I remember bringing that up in the room, and you could hear. I remember telling everyone when we got to the place where we were packaging offers, I said, my coach says, if you don't have a $50,000 offer, you can't sell it. And you could have heard a pin drop in the room. After, you heard everybody like hold their breath. You could hear everyone gasp. And the whole room was like $50,000. And so back then, that was my mindset. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. But as I worked with a coach who helped me bring in my first $30,000 client, that was so many years ago. And it was such a game changer. And I just, again, had no idea how to understand the value. Well, now I've been doing this for years and helping other people do it for years. So I get what you're saying, but I have taken people from $1,700 to $40,000 offers and closing those in 10 minutes. So when you're talking about the mindset, most of the people that come to me like what I'm saying. They're watching my marketing, they're hearing me, they like what I'm saying. And in their gut, they're like, oh, I want to do that. I wish I could do that. Gosh, how could I do that? Those are my people because they're ready, like they want to do that. The people that I have to convince, those are not people, right? That work with me. So the people that I work with are people that really want to do that. Like they know they're good at what they do. They just haven't maybe come across someone that could help them do that, or they haven't had exposure, like what's really possible. I have a lot of clients. I have a client right now that I just got off of a call with. He's probably got a $500,000 or $1 million offer with his niche and what he's doing. And he's getting ready to get on a sales call, which is why we were doing a call so I could walk him through that process. But they know they want to do it. So there's that piece. But then also showing them the real value they bring to the market typically brings that anxiety down, and then they understand it. They're like, oh, yeah. For example, if I said, well, how long did it take you to learn how the blood, sweat, and tears that it took you to get to the point that what you know right now? And a lot of times the people that I work with have maybe been doing something for years. So if, I have 42 years business experience, marketing, sales. I've been an entrepreneur for 32 years. So that's worth something, right? And so when you look at it that way, like I can do things with people very quickly in their business, but it's taken me 42 years to learn what I know to be able to do that. And so that's where I try to shift their mindset. It's not really shifting it. It's just getting them to think about their value, I don't say their value, but the value that they can bring to the market. It's getting them to think about it differently, because when you look at it that way, you're like, oh yeah, I deserve that. The client that I was just on the call with, he's made companies millions and millions of dollars as an employee. And I said, how much of that did you get? And he told me, and I said, so you don't want to make that same kind of money when you're going in to help them make millions and millions of dollars again, right? And he's like, no, that's why I went into my own business. So it really is about understanding that to the market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I like what you're saying. So you, if I may rephrase this, and then you correct me if I'm right or wrong with that. But what I'm hearing you say is that um it's not even that your approach is like the tricking the mindset. It is the understanding on a much deeper level of the value that you bring on a kind of core value uh model, right? So if I'm a strategist and I've been, and I can create signature growth systems and I can help people to map out unique value propositions, client transformation journeys, I literally can do this in my sleep because I don't even have to think about it. I mean, it's almost like my brain does it automatically.
That's it.
So what value do you have when somebody leaves here and then closes a $50,000 deal within 2 days because you've given them the value proposition and that
Yes.
piece? So if I go in conflict with that value proposition, if I go and say, well, I'm worth it, but it almost sounds like you have a different formula because you'll take me through a different calculation of how long did it take you to get here. And if it is like I can do in a day what other people haven't figured out in 10 years. I mean, I literally can do this in a day.
You just hit the nail on the head. Yes, you nailed it.
That's where you go in. And
Yes.
that's your genius to hear that, to find that, and then help people to connect the dots so that when they go out and talk about it, it's kind of like, yeah, I'm totally worth it.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. It is really about understanding the value that they're bringing to the client, to the market. But there are a couple of other pieces here. You can't just like, okay, I'm going to go sell something for $100,000 or $200,000. There are other pieces. So your message has to be right. The market has to be right. You have to be targeting the right market where that offer will be relevant and they've got the money to pay you. But then you've got to position that offer in a way that it's a no-brainer. So it has to have the perceived value. And that all has to come out in your messaging, in your marketing, and even in your sales process. So there really are a few more moving parts to it than just creating the offer. The offer is the first step. But another example would be some ways that I help people get really high-end services as well, or offers as well, is helping them create transformational offers versus being a transaction. So when people are going in to, say, work with a business or they're going to work with a corporation, they often will do a transaction. Okay, I'm going to do an assessment, or I'm going to come in and train for 30 days or 90 days or do a workshop. Those are transactions. But when you can go in to work with a business, or you can go in to work with a company, you go in as a strategic partner and a trusted advisor. And now that completely expands the offer, because now you're no longer a transaction. You're going to help them with the whole transformation within their company, within their business, their organization, whoever it is you're working with. And now you can keep them and you can work with them longer. And a lot of people don't like that, but anyone that has experience, that should probably light them up, because I know for me, when I first started coaching and I was selling 8-week programs like I was taught to sell, I wasn't fulfilled. I could not stand my business because I was doing something quick with them. They were getting quick wins, and then I didn't have anything to sell them on the back end, and they were going off and they were looking for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I felt really unfulfilled as a coach because I knew I could do so much more with them. So this is the same thing that I try to get my clients to see, is what is the transformation that you can bring to people? Well, now I'm an A to Z approach. Whatever you need to grow your business to those levels, I have the strategies and the guidance and support to help you get there. And I know that you do that as well. So selling that as a transformational offer versus just doing a one-off transaction, getting people to make that shift makes a big difference. But the other thing is, it gives you more consistent revenue. You're not out there starting back over, waiting for the next client. A lot of people are making their business so hard because they could be doing so much more with their clients, but they're not offering it, or they don't know how to structure it in a way that their clients want to stay with them. And I mean, to me, that's stability and security in your business. If I'm dependent on the next client, I'm starting my business back over every single time. And that is a hustle and a grind business.
You are absolutely correct. Yeah, I see this a lot. I mean, I think that what the pandemic and the aftermath of the pandemic really has done, it's exposed business models that are that are challenging, or that are very time consuming, or that are not fulfilling. Now, what I have noticed though with my clients and with my clients' clients, is it a true statement to say when you do that, that your avatar almost always has to change?
Not necessarily, which is okay. Let me just rephrase that. If you're talking about your avatar, probably, but your niche, maybe not. So there are a couple of things. Sometimes I have to help people change their market. They're not in a market that could ever probably pay them very much, although I will say there's money in every market. It's
Right.
just
But for an example, let's take the healing market, which is a very difficult market because
yes,
they're heart-centered entrepreneurs and
yes,
money is not them driving motivation. Just to get them to understand as a business is the first hurdle. To have them ask for money is the second hurdle. Then
right.
their pricing models are all over the place, which is another hurdle. Their consistency is another. So you have so many hurdles in the way. So let's just say, as in my experience, generally speaking, and if you're listening in the healing arts, of course, you could be the exception. But for the most part, people in these industries are are a little bit more challenged with a business model. So that is maybe not a model where that is as easy. But in, let's say, business consulting,
Mhm.
as a general rule on whether that's, people retention or leadership development or system strategies, processes, workflow design, project management. Now we can create pieces around that will, because that's like an evergreen kind of piece. So back to the question then. So now, what kind of client? So if I start with the idea of the high ticket or
Mhm.
the high value, ultra high value business model
Mhm.
that you promote. So now I say, I think my value, or I know my value is this, and it's
Mhm.
a $50,000 program. Now I need to look at my client who I'm selling to and identify, is this the right client? Is this the right market? But
Correct.
my niche may be the same. Do you want to talk to us a little bit more about that, what that entails?
Yes, so a really easy example of this would be, let's say you're working with entrepreneurs and you're working with all startups. Well, you're going to be limited on how much money they're going to have in most cases, right? But if you're working with entrepreneurs who are seven-figure businesses and then you've got the strategies, that's a very different market. It's the same, you're still working with entrepreneurs, but they're in a different place. And so now your offer has to match what they are looking for, and your offer has to match what is going to be relevant to them. And so that's all a piece of it as well. But yes, a lot of times your avatar does have to change, but sometimes this is the really interesting thing. Sometimes it's just people's messaging and what their offer is that's off, and they can stay even in the same market, but just changing the language and changing the messaging and changing the offer. All of a sudden, people kind of start like coming out of the woodwork, like, oh, I didn't think you were for me, but now you're for me. And so sometimes it is just literally a change in their positioning, which is the market perception, the outside perception of you and what you do. It's just changing that positioning and changing that language to let people know that you're for them. And so, yes, I say you target a better client, right? If you're looking for those more premium fees, but sometimes they're sitting there and people don't even realize it.
That's so powerful. And we will be right back after this message.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. This is Beate, the growth architect. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for your time. Have you ever wondered why your business is not growing as quickly as you would like it to be? Well, you may have a business growth blocker. And if you'd like to find out what that business growth blocker is, go and take our brand new quiz at growthblockerquiz.com. And in only a few minutes, you're not just going to find out what that blocker is, but also what to do about it. Again, go to growthblockerquiz.com. And now back to the show.
Beate Chelette here with Carden, talking about ultra high value businesses and the value proposition. So, Anne, you were just talking to me about the positioning, and um, what do business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, experts get wrong about their positioning?
Yes, so again, they're often not relevant to the market in their messaging. Also, when you're going for really high-end premium clients, they have to see that why you're different. They also have to see that you're better, and the credibility has to be able to be seen in your marketing as well. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. But when you're positioned right, and fortunately we have online marketing to be able to help us do that. So here's a really great way for people to understand their positioning. Do what is called an incognito window, which is open up a Google browser, go up into the right-hand corner, the three little dots, and you'll get a drop down that says an incognito window. Open that up and go search your name. And the reason you want to search that way is because that is what other people will see when they search you. Your computer is used to recognizing you and what you go to and all of that. And so it won't show you the same things. It will show you different things. But when you search yourself in an incognito window, now you will get to see what other people see. And here is the thing with positioning. If you go see what I do everywhere, everything I am saying the same thing. I help people build premium businesses. I help them build high-end businesses, high value, high ticket, all that language. Everything that I do is around helping people build premium businesses. And so my message is very consistent across all channels. It doesn't matter whether you Google me, whether you look at my YouTube channel, whether you go to LinkedIn, you go to Facebook, you're going to see the same marketing message everywhere. Now, within that, I do lots of things. I do have tons of ways I help them market. I help them close sales. I do a lot of different things within that, but you're going to see that I help people build premium businesses, $500,000, $1 million, or even beyond. So that message stays consistent. That is part of positioning because that builds credibility. If you look like a jack of all trades, people don't even really know if you're relevant to them. They don't even really know what you do. And so you have to get this so dialed in so that it's congruent, so that no matter where they find you, where they see you, where they look at you, they can see that you're either for them or you are not for them. And that's the power of good marketing, is repel who is not for you and pull the people that are.
I like this a lot. So there were really two things that you said that stood out. So number one, repel people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's probably the biggest discipline that a lot of people struggle with because they need the money and they need the client. They need this money and this client and this transaction. So they might be more inclined to take on a client even if it doesn't feel right from the beginning. So you are saying this is just part of the process of putting yourself in the right positioning framework, is to make sure that people who are not your client go and say, this is not right for me.
Right. That's true. And you bring up a good point. When someone is new to business, you've got to eat, right? You have to have cash flow. There's no business without cash flow. So in the beginning, we do end up, I did it, everyone does it. They end up taking clients that aren't the best fit or aren't paying them enough, but you have to get your business up and going. One of the things, though, that I love to do, and this is why I love this model and why I love working with people with an expertise, is because they don't have to start out low. For example, if someone is coming from corporate and they have spent years building their expertise and their knowledge and their skills, they don't have to start out at the bottom. A CEO starting out selling something for $497 a month is an insult. It's an insult, but they don't know how to put the pieces together to be able to charge those really premium fees. And so that's where I come in, helping them really be able to understand the value package market and sell that. But in the beginning, you have to do what you have to do. But as you get your business going. If you can start high, if you work with someone that can show you how to do that and can help you do that, you can do that right out of the gate. I mean, I'd rather get a $50,000 client than a $2,000 client, right? So
100%.
yeah, so you can do that, but a lot of people don't know that. And that a lot of times they end up just taking what comes their way. But that's really a business problem more than anything. Typically, it's not an expertise problem unless you're really starting out and you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to just figure out what you're, I'm not good at anything. Maybe you're younger. I'm not really good at anything yet. Well, then you have to just get the experience. There's no way around that. There are no
Yeah.
shortcuts.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. The second thing that you said is the niche and the positioning. So I want to just dive into this because in my business, I see this all the time misunderstood. The niche is different from having a system. So you said that within your niche, which is the high value business,
Mhm.
you do different things. So the niche is not that you just put the offer together. The niche is the category. Can you help us differentiate this a little bit? Because that is where I probably see 99% of people that come to me hung up with, where they say, well, everybody says I need to niche. And I said, the system is the niche.
Yes, that's right.
So talk to us about that.
Yeah, really your niche is your market. Who is it? So there are a couple ways to niche. Yes, you can niche with your system, with your brand. You can niche, I call it niche or niche, whatever.
Niche, whatever. Yeah, exactly.
So you can niche in that way. For example, who am I pulling? Who am I trying to attract? People that have expertise, knowledge, skills, experience, that want to build a premium business, or people that are already in their business, but they want to go more premium. They know there's more for them. That is my audience. Now that's coaches, consultants, professional entrepreneurs. It can categorize a lot of different people, but the message is still the same. And so that either pulls them or it doesn't pull them. I also talk a lot about helping you scale to $500,000 to $1 million. I don't look for people that are just looking to make a little bit of income. They're not my clients. They're not going to want to pay for my services. I look for people who are looking to do bigger things. And so that is my niche, even though I'm targeting professional coaches, business coaches, entrepreneurs. So a lot of people look at it as, oh, it has to be one particular market. It doesn't. As long as your offer and what you do with them is clear. And my whole business system is what is my niche, right? That is what I am actually selling to the market that I'm selling to.
I love that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You know how I compared, Anne? I said, when you go in a high-rise building, you take an elevator from P4 to the ground floor. That's one elevator. Then you go in another elevator that goes from 1 to 15. Then there's a third elevator that goes from 16 to 30. And then there's the one elevator that goes from whatever 16, from 31 to the penthouse. You have to decide which elevator you want to operate.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that you cannot have a client transformation journey that takes them in different elevators, but the more of those you do, the more difficult and convoluted your model will be, and the more difficult it will be to actually make money. If you're in one elevator and it only goes from 31 to the penthouse, that's the kind of people that can afford to be in the penthouse.
Yes, that brings up such a good point, because I really do kind of have two markets. I have the experts coming out that want to start their business, but they typically come with funds because they're coming maybe from a career or something. And so they're willing to invest. And then I have the market where they're already in their business and now they want to elevate what they are doing. And so I do have two markets, but I'm still helping them do the same thing. It's just one market we're working at a faster, higher level, and the other market, but I don't put them together. So if I'm running masterminds, for example, I might have a mastermind with a startup group they're not startups in their expertise, they're just startups in their business. And then I have a group where they're in scale mode. And so but you have to understand that. And I didn't start out with both of those. I added that. That's something else to understand too, that you can't start out with too many things at one time. Like you said, it really waters down your message. But my whole method is expert in you. That is my whole method, my expert in you business accelerator.
I absolutely love that. Yes, this is really incredible. I think we covered a lot of territory in the time that we have had today. So if somebody's heard this and goes like, "Oh my God, I must know this woman. I must know more about her." Where do we send them? Where can they go and find out about you?
But you can Google me, but you can find me on LinkedIn. If you want to book a call with me, you can go to acarden.com, book a strategy call. We'll take a look at your business and see what your opportunity is and how you can do this. And then I also do always have some sort of a workshop typically going on, and that is at expertinyouworkshop.com. And if you could check out and see what my upcoming workshop is, and if it looks like a fit, you can apply to come to that. So.
Yeah, I love that. And I just want to give just a short behind the scenes look here, because, I love that you say I always have a workshop going on. This is one of the strategies we do as client attraction business, is you always have to have some sort of a master class or a workshop or something going on. So people that are and curious have an opportunity to come and check you out, and then, become part of your sphere and learn more about you until they're ready to then pull the trigger and work with you. So I'm thrilled you say that. We do the same thing. The strategy we teach, I just wanted to point it out because it is a strategic, podcast. So when we see one, we call it out. And I appreciate you so much. This was so powerful, so fast, so insightful. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that's it for us today. Stay tuned for more on the Business Growth Architect Show. And until next time, goodbye.
And that's it for us today. Thank you for listening and watching the Business Growth Architect Show. I enjoyed having you here. And for accountability, just take one of the strategies that you have heard, one thing that you can implement in your business immediately. Please leave comments. Don't forget to like and share this show. And if you have any questions about business, please put them in the comments. We are here for you. We're here to support you and help you to grow, build, and scale your own business. For more advice, please check out our website in the show notes below. Thank you again. This is Beate Chelette, the Growth Architect, and goodbye.